Unity's appearance at Hesselberg was unusual enough to be noted in the British press, but she was about to go a step further. 2 weeks later, she wrote an open letter to Stryker's newspaper.
The English have no notion of the Jewish danger. Our worst Jews work only behind the scenes. We think with joy of the day when we shall be able to say England for the English, out with the Jews, Heil Hitler. P.S. Please publish my name in full. I want everyone to know that I am a Jew hater.
You can't anymore think that this is a girl who's just a loose cannon chundering around Germany. Once you take a public position like that, the public's going to respond. And the Jewish Chronicle and the Daily Telegraph and the Mirror, all sorts of newspapers then pick her up and say, who's this? What's going on?
While Unity was condemned in Britain, it was Hitler she was trying to impress, and he soon rewarded her loyalty.
He gave her a golden Hakenkreuz, the swastika badge, with his name engraved on the back, and this was a sacred object to her. This he only gave to a very small, selected number of people. I mean, Goebbels and Mrs. Goebbels, and that a very small number of people. So she knew that she'd entered the sacred mysteries.
From that moment on, Unity Valkyrie Mitford was a guest at almost every significant Nazi event. At the 1936 Olympics in Berlin, Unity watches from a box as Hitler opens the games. Two weeks later, Unity and her sister Diana are driven to the Wagner Festival in Bayreuth in a Mercedes provided by Hitler. In 1938, Austria capitulates to Hitler's demands and is incorporated into the Third Reich. Hitler drives to Vienna in triumph and declares the Anschluss from the balcony of the Imperial Hotel, where Unity briefly joins him to enjoy the cheering crowds below. Later that year, Hitler is agitating in Czechoslovakia, encouraging a separatist movement amongst the German speakers. In the midst of the crisis, Unity drives to Prague with a car full of Nazi regalia and is promptly arrested by the Czech authorities.
She goes to demonstrate in Germany, in Czechoslovakia, in Vienna, and she's making quite sure that she's at every power move that they make to invade in Europe, to give her support to it and just to be present. So she's become more than just a groupie, really. She's become a propagandist.
That summer, Hitler invited Unity to join him at his private mountain retreat, the Berghof.
They spent their time talking about how Germany and England were meant to be allies together and rule the world. And Unity was very keen to tell him who in England would support him. So they drew up lists. These people will have to be shot. And these people will put on jackboots and rally for you in March. Hitler's circle was horrified by Unity. They were very suspicious of her, and they thought she was a spy. And they didn't like having an English person in this intimacy with Hitler.
Everybody who knew Unity, even those who were very fond of her, admitted that Unity could not hold her tongue about anything. She would say anything to anybody. So I think that they thought she was a loose cannon, really, and the ones who did know about her were quite frightened of her proximity to Hitler, because they just didn't know. She was English after all, and they didn't know where it would get back to.
It was very strange that an English woman was able to use up so much of Hitler's personal available time and treat him with this intimacy. I mean, she was often in the Reichskanzlei in Berlin. She was often with him in Munich. He invited her to Berchtesgaden. It seemed more than 100 times. No other English person could have anything like that access to Hitler.
While the visit to Berchtesgaden fueled speculation about their relationship, it was the events leading up to the war which convinced many reporters that Unity and Hitler were more than just friends.
Well, by 1939, she wanted to live somewhere. She wanted to get a permanent address in Munich. So Hitler arranged through his office that she would have a choice of 4 different apartments in Munich. Unity went to this flat in 26 Agnesstrasse in Munich, and the Jewish owners were in the flat, and they knew that they were going to be dispossessed. And they were sobbing, a husband and wife. And Unity went round this apartment saying, "What terrible curtains. I'll have to get rid of the curtains. Oh dear. And I don't like this sofa. We're not going to take the sofa. And when I have this room, I'll arrange it like this, and it would be so much better if we did this, that, and the other." And she spoke of this just as though it was a question of decoration and design in front of this weeping couple who knew what was going to happen to them. It means that she's totally immersed in Nazism. She's prepared to treat these Jewish people as inhuman. And she has clearly crossed some sort of divide. But she's been living in Germany for 5 years, and everybody around her has crossed that divide too.
After moving into her new apartment, Unity continued to see Hitler regularly. She'd always believed that her bond with Hitler could lead to a lasting alliance between England and Germany. But this was a fantasy that was about to be destroyed.
After March 1939, when Hitler occupied the rump of Czechoslovakia, it was obvious that we were going to have a war, and that appeasement had failed. And Unity's dream, if it was such, that she would play a part in bringing Germany and England together, is clearly fractured.
In August 1939, Unity made her annual visit to the Wagner Festival in Bayreuth, accompanied by her sister Diana. It was here that Hitler delivered the news that would break Unity's heart.
In the interval, he told them both that war was certain and was certain to come within weeks, and that they should leave, they should go home. And Diana did, and Unity, of course, didn't.
Unity's parents, the Redesdales, they send her frantic telegrams saying, come home, come home. She doesn't want to. She knows what she's going to do, but of course she hasn't told them.
On the 1st of September, Hitler invaded Poland, and 2 days later, Britain was at war with Germany. Unity Mitford was alone in her Munich apartment when she heard the news.
Hitler had given her a small pistol with which to defend herself if anything happened. So when war is declared at 11 o'clock that morning, she takes her telephone off the hook and goes to see the Gauleiter of Munich and says, these are the 2 things that are most precious to me. If anything happens to me, you will see I'm buried with them, won't you? And she then goes into the English garden, takes out the pistol, puts it to her right temple, and fires.